Alfred Adler, A Complete Guide to Individual Psychology. Chapter 1. Foundations of Individual Psychology. Alfred Adler, an Austrian physician and psychologist, developed one of the most influential schools of thought in psychology, individual psychology. His approach significantly diverged from Freud's theories, emphasizing the unity of personality and the importance of social factors. In his 1927 work, The Practice and Theory of Individual Psychology, Adler wrote, "We must look at the individual as a whole, not as a collection of separate traits or inner conflicts." This idea laid the foundation for a new psychological paradigm. Adler rejected the notion that human behavior is solely driven by unconscious impulses. Instead, he proposed viewing personality as a complex, interconnected system. This holistic view became the first principle of individual psychology. The second key principle is teleology, the concept that behavior is goal-oriented. Adler argued that we are not merely products of our past, but are motivated by our visions of the future. In his 1929 lectures, he noted, "Man is not a passive product of his environment, but an active creator of his own destiny." The third foundational principle is the social embeddedness of personality. Adler was the first in psychology to declare, "There is no such thing as an isolated self. Our psyche is shaped through interaction with others." This insight became the core of his concept of social interest. A clinical example illustrates these principles. In 1928, Adler described a 35-year-old man suffering from uncontrollable anger outbursts. Unlike Freudians, who might have searched for childhood trauma, Adler focused on the man's current life context. As a child, the man was physically weak and often mocked. As an adult, he unconsciously used aggression to compensate for his earlier feelings of inferiority. This case clearly demonstrates Adler's approach. Behavior is not a symptom, but a strategy of adaptation, one that can be understood and changed. Chapter 2. Inferiority, Feelings and Compensation Mechanisms. The concept of inferiority feelings is one of Adler's most significant contributions to psychology. In The Neurotic Character, 1912, he wrote, "The feeling of inferiority is not a pathology. It is a normal stimulus for development. It becomes destructive only when it robs us of our belief in ourselves." Adler identified three main types of compensation. 1. Direct compensation for physical weaknesses. A classic example is the Greek orator Demosthenes, who overcame a childhood stutter by practicing speeches with pebbles in his mouth, eventually becoming one of history's greatest speakers. Another example is Theodore Roosevelt. A sickly child, he developed extraordinary physical endurance through rigorous training and went on to become President of the United States. These are healthy compensations, where weaknesses are transformed into strengths. 2. Indirect compensation for social inferiority. When direct compensation isn't possible, people often find alternative routes to self-worth. Adler analyzed Napoleon, whose short stature may have fueled his ambition for power and conquest. Modern psychology is full of stories where individuals who experienced social exclusion in childhood became outstanding educators or therapists. This shows how early adversity can be transformed into socially valuable work. 3. Overcompensation, often in neurotic forms. This can manifest as narcissism, where a person constantly seeks to prove superiority, or as hypochondria, using physical symptoms to gain attention and care. Adler described a patient who was mocked for his appearance as a child. He developed a sharp sense of humor and became a successful comedian. Yet his success felt hollow, until he recognized the true motives behind his behavior. Modern neuroscience supports Adler's ideas. MRI studies show that overcoming adversity activates brain regions associated with reward. This confirms Adler's belief that conquering inferiority brings deep satisfaction. The theory of post-traumatic growth, developed in the late 20th century, also echoes Adler's views. Research shows that individuals who endure serious hardships often achieve greater personal development than those who do not. Chapter 3. The striving for superiority, constructive and destructive forms. Adler saw the striving for superiority as the fundamental driving force of human behavior. In The Science of Living, 1929, he wrote, "The striving for superiority is the basic law of human life, but it's crucial to understand. Healthy striving is not about being better than others. It's about surpassing your former self. Healthy striving is characterized by self-development and social contribution. Examples include a scientist seeking breakthroughs for the good of humanity, an artist refining their craft, or a volunteer helping others. In such cases, striving fuels both personal growth and social progress. Neurotic striving, however, appears in two forms: the superiority complex, marked by arrogance, dominance, and narcissism; the inferiority complex, often expressed as self-sabotage, fear of success, or constant self-comparison. Adler described a young lawyer who was bullied as a child. He chose law to defeat the system and achieved professional success, but remained deeply unhappy. His constant conflicts with colleagues and anxiety stemmed from unresolved childhood wounds. Only after realizing this could he change his relationship with work and find fulfillment. Today, Adler's ideas are widely used in coaching, sports psychology, and career counseling. They help leaders understand their motivations, athletes overcome imposter syndrome, and professionals align their careers with authentic goals. Chapter 4. Lifestyle and its formation in early childhood. The concept of lifestyle may be Adler's most practical legacy. According to him, by age 4 or 5, a child forms a basic life script that shapes behavior throughout life. In Understanding Human Nature, 1927, Adler wrote, "A child doesn't just react to the environment, they actively construct a worldview that guides all future actions." He identified 4 main lifestyle types. 1. Socially useful, flexible, cooperative, responsible, optimistic. 2. Avoidant, fearful of failure, passive, pessimistic. 3. Getting, manipulative, dependent, expecting others to provide. 4. Dominant, aggressive, controlling, intolerant of weakness. To change a lifestyle, Adler proposed a 3-step method. 1. Analyze early memories to uncover key patterns. 2. Decode private logic, the belief system formed in childhood. 3. Reorient towards social interest and cooperation. A modern case illustrates this. A 33-year-old manager reported chronic dissatisfaction and workplace conflict. Analysis showed that as a middle child, she constantly felt overlooked. This led to a perfectionist strategy of, "I must be the best." Therapy helped her recognize this pattern, adjust her expectations, and embrace collaboration, improving both her work and personal life. Chapter 5. Social interest as the foundation of mental health. The concept of social interest, Gemeinschaftsgefühl, is perhaps the most humanistic aspect of Adler's theory. In The Meaning of Life, 1933, he wrote, "Happiness is only possible when we feel valuable to others. Neurosis is a prison for those who live only for themselves." Key components of social interest include empathy, understanding others' feelings; cooperation, working towards shared goals; responsibility, caring for the common good. Adler proposed ways to develop social interest. Engage in community service or volunteering. Participate in group therapy to learn mutual support. Practice family education that fosters responsibility for others. Recent studies confirm that people with strong social interest show greater stress resilience and lower rates of depression and anxiety. Interestingly, neuroscience supports this too. Altruistic behavior activates the brain's reward centers, confirming Adler's idea that caring for others is a natural human need. Chapter 6. The power of environment. Your environment shapes your behavior more than you might think. Want to eat healthier? Put fruits on the counter and hide the junk food. Want to read more? Leave books on your pillow. The easier it is to access what you want to do, the more likely you'll do it. Design your space for success. Make good habits visible and bad habits invisible. Your surroundings can become silent allies in your journey. Chapter 7. The 2-minute rule. Big changes start small. The 2-minute rule says, when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. Want to run every day? Start by putting on your running shoes. Want to write a book? Start by writing one sentence. It's not about doing the habit perfectly. It's about showing up. Once you start, momentum takes over. Chapter 8. Make it satisfying. We repeat behaviors that are immediately rewarding. That's why bad habits stick. They feel good now. To make good habits stick, you need to make them satisfying too. Use a habit tracker. Celebrate small wins. Feel good about your progress. The more pleasure your brain associates with a habit, the more likely it'll stick. Chapter 9. The role of identity. True behavior change is identity change. Don't just say, I want to run. Say, I'm a runner. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. The goal isn't to read a book, it's to become a reader. It's not to write, it's to become a writer. Build habits that reinforce your desired identity. Chapter 10. How to break a bad habit. Breaking a bad habit is like reversing the habit-building process. 1. Make it invisible. 2. Make it unattractive. 3. Make it difficult. 4. Make it unsatisfying. For example, if you want to stop checking your phone, leave it in another room. Add friction. Make the bad habit harder to do than the alternative. Chapter 11. Advanced tactics. Once the basics are in place, refine your system. Use habit stacking. Link a new habit to an existing one. Apply temptation bundling. Pair something you want with something you need. Adjust your environment as your habits evolve. Mastery is not about doing more, it's about doing better. Chapter 12. The plateau of latent potential. Progress is not always visible. Habits often work in the background, compounding slowly. It's like heating a block of ice. Nothing seems to happen until it suddenly melts. Don't quit too early. Trust the process. Results will come, just not always on your schedule. Conclusion. Small habits, big change. Small habits, repeated consistently, lead to remarkable results. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Just start small. Show up. Keep going. Success is the product of daily choices. Build the right system, and the results will take care of themselves.